Hi, I'm Luann with Rockin Book Reviews, and I'm so happy to be here today with Stephaie Rabell. Stephaie is a businesswoman and has been involved for years in PR work. She comes very talented, and I can recommend her with her new company, Book and Wine Lovers, because she has sent very many wonderful authors to me, and she has followed through excellently. So she's very capable. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, how many siblings you had, fun activities you used to do, a few things like that.
Okay, thank you for having me, Luann. I appreciate it. I grew up on Long Island, and I have one sister. Our favorite activities that we used to do when we were kids was go visit our grandparents, both sets in Iowa. Both of my parents were born and raised in Iowa. So my sister and I would love to go visit our grandparents and our cousins. We would play in the creeks. We would go hiking. We would take the bus to town. We would go on little like mini day trips with my grandparents, helping them in the garden, just kind of stuff like that, spending time with family. That's what we like to do best. And of course, when we were at home on Long Island, pretty much did the same thing. We had woods in our backyard, so we would make forts and play in the woods and, go bike riding everywhere and, that kind of stuff. The stuff that kids don't do today.
But it sounds wonderful. My type of favorite things to do. Are there a couple of parts of your childhood that are especially memorable that you feel have helped you to develop into the person you are today?
I don't know if I have memories, but I know my parents, their work ethic and their drive, that's pretty much made me who I am today. Just their hard work and extra efforts, whether it was with their job or with their family, always putting in that 110%. So I don't think I have something overall, just my parents.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. A lot of children don't have that these days.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, you worked for two different catalog companies for over 13 years. What catalog companies were they and what were your responsibilities?
Okay. They're not in business right now because they got bought out, but it was Construction Book Express, which is a catalog company for, say you wanted to get your master's electrician license. We would sell the books to help you study for that type of thing. And then the other portion of the company, it was like the same company, but they had two separate entities. The other side was professional inspection equipment, and they sold equipment for home inspectors. So I learned a lot, especially on the equipment side, and I became the customer service manager. And I was, able to, hire people, fire people, train them in marketing, train them in sales, train with them like how to use the equipment. So when they're on the phone with customers, they will know what to say. And I think, that has also shaped me because being on the customer service rep side, as opposed to a customer, I know what customer service people can do, and they need to like follow through. And, we weren't allowed to have an unhappy customer. The customer is always right. You have to appease them. Like that's how I was trained. And that's how I am today, the same way, because that's how I was trained. You have to, help the customer out and meet them halfway and figure it out. Like there's no bad customer. We're just going to figure it out. And I did a lot of trade shows. I got to travel a bit in the North and the Midwest, going to trade shows, showing the equipment to home inspectors and even just normal people walking by, and they see that we have a carbon monoxide detector and they decide they just want to buy it for their home. We had a few of those kind of customers as well. But that was the fun part, was going to the trade shows and traveling and, things like that.
That's another thing that we're missing these days is customer service.
I know. It's like, can I get a live person?
Yeah, exactly. If you can even get a phone number anymore.
So. You're right.
Okay, what was the most favorite part of your job and what was the absolute worst part?
Well, the favorite part was going, to the trade shows and talking to the customers, whether it was on the phone or at the trade show. I loved talking to the customers because you meet so many different kinds of people from all walks of life, from all over. So that was the fun and interesting part. The boring part that I didn't like was, doing, the paperwork, getting the month's end reports ready and printing them out and that kind of stuff, the paperwork stuff that nobody wants to do. I'd rather sit and talk to somebody all day.
Absolutely. I'm with you there. Okay. You are also very successful in the Mary Kay cosmetic companies, and you did a lot of PR work there. Tell us about that time.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I decided to go into Mary Kay. I'm not in it anymore, but I decided to go into Mary Kay when my kids were little. And it was just something for me to get out of the house. They had like their meetings every Tuesday night. So, I was able to get all dressed up, go to your meeting. And then during the week, find your clients and help your clients, talk on the phone, go to their house, show them their products, which I did love their products. And that's why I liked working for them, because I loved all their products. They were just a very family oriented, very positive company to work for. That they were always willing to help you no matter what.
You had some conventions too, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yep, I did go to a convention. That was a lot of fun too. Yep, you're right. I forgot about that.
I did my homework.
You sure did.
Okay. And what is the mission statement for your new company?
Thank you for asking that. I don't know it by heart, so I'm just going to kind of read it off. Basically, just helping independent and published authors, helping them accelerate their presence in the writing community, or the reader community rather. And basically, I like to connect authors to the readers through book tours. That's basically how it, that's how it works. And through the book tours, they consist of book reviews, interviews, podcast interviews, maybe interviews through a blog post. I'm starting now to hook up people with Amazon Live shows so they can actually sell their books.
Tell us about that. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, they could sell their books right on Amazon. Yep. So, and the contests and the book fests and all that kind of stuff. It's basically like, I consider my job the connector, the somebody who is connecting the author to the readers and the authors to a lot of opportunities, not just once the book tour is over, I don't say, okay, goodbye. I'm always, building our relationship, still connecting with them, mentioning, oh, there's a book festival going on in your area. I just wanted to let you know, or there's this really cool book contest. I think it sounds up your alley. Maybe, try it out, see what's going on. Just little things like that, connecting them to other opportunities to help them along the way, because they need the help.
I have several new authors and authors who, wannabes that are writing a book and they want to know what, and I tell them all, get a good publicist, because the worst part of this whole business is marketing. I knew there was a lot of books out there, but I had no clue how many actually are out there.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's more than enough to go
around.
It's not like anyone's going to steal your readers away, because if there's 1 billion books, then there's quadruple the amount of readers. So yeah, you're absolutely.
And we're short on reviewers and publicists and all the background people, and that's why I'm trying to introduce people like you who are in the background that most people don't realize are there.
No,
but they are very needed, and
absolutely.
There's plenty of people to go around. That doesn't need to be competitive. The author itself is the one that's in the most competitive part of the whole business, because there's billions of books out there and millions on your own subject that you're writing on. And I had no idea. I really hadn't. I mean, I have literally had tens of thousands in the last 9 years of books offered to me and wanting to have them read, and I can't possibly even touch.
No, you can't. I get a lot too, oh, do you mind? I have a book club as well. And, they ask about the book club, and I wish I could read every single book, but if I did, then I wouldn't be able to do the book tours, and I would be sitting home reading all day long.
So that brings up another question. What inspiration did you have behind starting this business?
Good question. Actually, it was through my book club. I decided to start a book club just to kind of get back into reading again, having that friendship and kinship with your friends, meeting once a month type of thing, having some wine, that kind of stuff.
That's where your wine and books come from.
You're right. That's exactly how it came. And just through that, going on Instagram and checking out authors and things like that. And then all of a sudden authors started recognizing me and, asking me, well, do you think you could help me, market my book like for free? Do you think you can post this for me? Do you think, that kind of thing? And I did for a long time. Or they would send us, books, and the book club would read it, and then we would post about it and things like that. But it started where a lot of people were asking for help. And, the girls in the book club were like, maybe you have something here, Stephaie. Maybe you should look into that, because it seems like you're doing a lot of work. So I decided I was going to do 3 book tours for free to see how I did. So I did that, no problem. Everybody was happy. I worked with one woman who lived in the UK. She was a little worried because of the time difference, and it wasn't a problem. She's like, I felt like Stephaie was my next door neighbor. She goes, I was worried in the beginning, but she, held my hand the whole way. I probably have the testimony on my website. So yes, the one particular author loved my work so much, she mailed me a check. I'm like, why'd you mail me a check? You're not supposed. I was doing this on purpose so I can figure out, how this works and if I can do it. No, you did such a great job. I have to pay you. So then I realized, okay, I have something here. And then I just started out, and now I'm busy.
Well, I think you found out too, as long as most of us bloggers usually find out, is after a while it becomes so overwhelming. If you're doing it for free, it's very difficult, because you have expenses with your blog, you have expenses other places, and you need to have that check behind you.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm not saying that authors are being pushy or asking for too much. I totally get it. They don't know that 10 other authors ask you to read their book. They don't know that. They can't read your mind. And you know what? It's a numbers game. Eventually they'll find somebody to read their book. So authors out there, keep on asking people to read your book. Luann and I are not saying don't ask. We want you to ask. It's a numbers game.
But they also need to realize, like I contacted a couple of my blogger friends who do book reviews, and I tell them I'm getting so backlogged, and they made me feel better, because I'm trying to read every book, and they just said they just have to toss a lot of them into the background, because there's no way they can read all the books that are sent to them. And so it's a challenge. And if anybody's listening out there, we need more bloggers and more book reviewers. And it's very challenging. I admire you, and I think it's great.
Oh, thank you.
I think it takes courage to start a new business too.
Yeah. I love the research part. I love the marketing part. I love talking, whether it's a reader or an author. So it's all up my alley. And actually, I was a reader before I decided to become a book tour company. I went on a few book tours, as a reader, and I saw what they did. And this is before I even thought about having a company. This was when I was just a regular reader. But then I saw what they were doing and what they were not doing. And when I then decided to do my own company, I knew I wanted to do better, and I wanted to do more. I tell my authors that I don't like doing like 5 book tours in one day. I wouldn't even be able to keep track. It's too much. But I'm
amazed. I know people who have done it and who do it now, but I don't
know how they
blow my mind.
But how could they possibly really really be there for that author? Because if I have a book tour for the week, I'm constantly reposting reviews, doing stories, because I really want them to get their money's worth, and I want their book to be exposed to anyone and everybody. I want all eyes on that book, and I couldn't do that if I had 5 other people to worry about. It's too much. So I do a little bit more, like scheduling the podcasts and all those types of interviews, that takes a long time and a lot of work and a lot of patience, because the podcasters say the same thing as you say, Luann. They are booked up the wazoo. They have people waiting. And they say, don't email me. But of course, I constantly will email them. Eventually they'll get sick of me. And then they'll say, all right, let's just get this, let's get this author on. So we get rid of her.
I mean, unfortunately, that's how we have to do it. The noisy wheel gets the grease type of thing.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So,
very true. And that's what makes you an exceptional publicist, is because you know both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
I think it's fantastic. Okay. And so you told me a little bit about what you do that other companies don't. Is there any other things that you do?
Just for example, like that UK author, I held her hand the whole way. She, I think, was 80 years old and never done a book tour before, let alone in a foreign country to her. And I made her feel as comfortable as anything. And she's writing more and more books. God bless her.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. So, but just holding their hands on both sides. Like, for example, there might be a book tour and the author will say, I noticed that there was a few people that didn't post, about their review about the book. And then the book tour host might say, oh, I never got the book, or, oh, I got sick, or there's always something. So you have to constantly keep up with those readers and constantly be in contact with them, because stuff does happen. Mail gets lost. People's moms get sick, and they have to rush over to there's every kind of excuse in the book. I believe them all, because these people are the kind of readers that they're diehard readers. They want to read, but sometimes life gets in the way. I always make sure I do a couple more. Like if somebody wanted a tour of 8 stops, I would always try to do a few more, just in case there are a few that go on the wayside, and then eventually I'll have them post when they're not sick anymore or something like that. Right. But it's constant follow-up. You have to constantly follow up. You have to constantly remind the readers, don't forget. It's just a lot involved in the background, but again, I don't mind. I like doing it. It's a lot of work and takes a lot of time. And then with the authors, I take the time with them. I'm on the phone with them, or texting, or Instagramming. We're constantly, I warn them, don't be surprised if I text you at 10:30 at night. Can you make this interview? Because, when you're doing live stuff, things happen very fast. I try to build a relationship with the author, not just, a body, and I'm doing their book and then that's it. It's all about building the relationship with them. I don't want them to go away. I want them to come back for their next book.
And I'm certain all those years in both Mary Kay and your catalog business, you had lots of experience with PR.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And while we're on the subject, Stephaie, a few years ago, actually just before I started my blog, I often made the comment that, if anything made me irritable, it's people that I couldn't depend on. And I used to hate soap operas when I was a young woman, because I thought there's no way in this world that many things can go to that wrong to that one family. I have eaten those words over and over again. And because really it's so crazy. And as I reach out to people, I find that more and more people are saying the same things. They're having all these health and weird stuff happening to them in their lives constantly. Mm-hmm. And it's you have to balance all that life mm-hmm. into your business. And I know it's very difficult. It's very difficult. And it's been very humbling for me to have my blog. And because I swear anything that could go wrong went wrong the last 9 years. But yet there's always those faithfuls that have, I've got people still following me that were my followers 9 years ago.
Wow, and that says something about you too.
Well, I hope, because I love my blog and I love people, but I had my blog wiped out 5 times in 1 year. And I had a total breakdown emotionally, because
unbelievable. Yeah, because it's like
I get up and I couldn't afford to keep paying people. And so I had people come to my aid that were web design, but they didn't do exactly my type, but they helped me out. And and they got it up, and it would only be up a few weeks, and WordPress would wipe it out again. And so for that, and that these people have still with me, I am so grateful. I've lost a lot, but I gained a lot. So I'm just hoping to win the trust of people back in the near future, the ones that used to follow and don't follow.
I'm sure you will.
But anyhow, yes, life happens, and you have to, as a business person, juggle that and still keep your customer happy. And I admire you. That is a big job.
Thank you.
What are your top goals in the near future?
Okay. Still helping authors, maybe helping even more if I ever decide to get like a virtual assistant, somebody that can do all the back work while I'm, working with the authors myself, and then they can kind of do all the back work, making all the graphics, and, because I do everything, I'm just by myself. So it does take a lot of work and a lot of time. So I would love to have a virtual assistant one day so I can actually do even more, help the authors even more. My book club is an action. I know this is weird how I'm injecting this, but to explain myself, my book club is an action book club. And that means that we help within our communities. And basically we like to do book drives for people who either can't get to a book or don't have the funds for a book, or maybe there's not a library nearby, things like that. We've already done three successful book drives. And through my company, I would ask my authors, do you think you would like to, donate a book for this particular cause, type of thing? And I would set up a Amazon list. So we could tell all the people who would love to donate, whether it's an author or a regular person like you and I, just go on the Amazon, list, pick a book, order it, and then everything would, just come to my house, and then I would, give it to the person in charge of the book drive. So it's like kind of helping both people. We're helping the kids and adults get the books, but we're also having people spend the money on a book. So people are buying the books from the authors, type of thing. So the authors will donate their books, but a lot of people will also buy books. It's so great when I get like all of a sudden like an influx of Amazon packages. I'm like, yay, books are coming in for the book drive,
That's wonderful. That's interesting. I'll have to talk to you about that later, because a few years ago when I first started my blog, that's what I was involved in, our community library. And it was lacking in books, and they were so out of the, I'd say century, but they are out of the century now, but they were so old. And so we weren't getting the patrons that we need. And you know what a struggle it is these days to get people and children to actually read. So I would ask, any authors if they would like to donate a book to our library, and several did. But now our state library made a stupid policy that they couldn't accept any donated book.
Wow.
And I thought that's bizarre, because we have a bookmobile, but our small town doesn't have the tax base. So I think that's a wonderful idea. I have all these books, and that I've read, and
oh, absolutely.
I've got floor-to-ceiling books on 4 walls of my den, and there's just one place for the door, and that's it. My window's even covered up. And what do I do with all these books?
No, definitely, donate them. We donated our books to a children's psychiatric center where they're in. And, if they're in a psychiatric ward, they really can't do anything, because they might hurt themselves with a pencil or whatever.
Yeah.
They really can't do much, but they could read softbacks, not the hardback. So we built the library for them. And then as we're we had carts and carts of books. It was a great day. And one of the head nurses on the adult unit was like, hey, this is a good thing. Can you build us a library? So then we decided to build them a library.
Wow, fantastic.
So, there's definitely a need. You just have to, find it. And then once the word gets out, people will be, do you have any more books?
That's wonderful. I think more of us need to learn that, maybe start more.
Yeah, it's more work. It's a whole nother job, and then of course you got all the books in your house waiting for a good cause. And I like to be able to help people, and I'm helping the authors. We just did one for nonprofit cancer. We wanted all brand new because they're very fragile. those patients. So we wanted all brand new, crisp and clean, no dust, no nothing, you know?
Well, this has been great. Is there any final comments you'd like to make before we go?
No, I appreciate you having me on and asking lots of questions. I appreciate that, and lots of interesting ones.
Well, I try.
You did a great job.
Okay. I just wish you well, and I recommend.
Oh, can I say one thing? Do I have time to say something?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be quick. I just did a book tour giveaway. So the authors out there, I'm sorry you just missed that, but I actually did do a whole book tour giveaway. So, because I'm all about giving back. But now I'm doing a t-shirt, a Publicist t-shirt giveaway for all of my Instagram followers. So if anyone is interested in winning a free t-shirt, they get to pick it. And we have all the sizes, so it doesn't matter what size you are. And so one person will win a Publicist t-shirt that they get to pick. They have until September 16th to go on my website, Book and Wine Lovers Marketing. That's Book and Wine Lovers Marketing, all one word. They go on there, sign up for my newsletter, and then that's it. They're automatically entered in. So if they're interested in winning a free t-shirt, they can.
And while we're on the subject, would you like to tell our listeners what you are offering for this giveaway?
Yes, and I forgot to bring it with me, but I'm giving away a fantasy book called Locked Out of Heaven by Danielle M. Orsino. I love her. She was a debut author when I first met her, and now her 5th book is being published. She's come a long way. You know, like I kind of love it that I grew with her. So I'm giving away one of her books. Unfortunately, it's only for the US only. I guess if any of the other winner, if somebody wins and they're not from the United States, then perhaps we would do an ebook. I guess it just kind of depends on where they are. But I'd rather give them the print book because it's gorgeous. Her books are gorgeous for the US.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. And we'll put both newsletter and your blog site information.
Yes. Oh, thank you. That would be wonderful.
And so if you get on, you can have opportunities for 2 giveaways.
You're right. So I'll put that on. I'll put your giveaway on my website as well. But we got work already. We got work to do.
That's right.
Thank you so much, Luann.
Oh, this has been a delight. You're really interesting, and I really admire you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for all the patience and all you've done for me.
Oh, absolutely. We're in it together, Luann.
Absolutely. And we hope that all of you will search the universe through books. And goodbye now.
Bye.